Hey y'all, hello. We're a little rough this morning. You know, this is y'all are gonna have to sometimes I think like, oh, I want to go in and work a little bit, and then I am like, oh, but like, I don't have any makeup on, and like I'm not camera ready. But I think if I stress out over being camera ready, we won't get it done. So I'm gonna trust that y'all are gonna just take me as I am, and we're not gonna stress too much about formality in here. So thank you all for bearing with me exactly as I am today. And today, exactly as I am is, where it's going to have to be good enough for what we're doing now. So continuing on, y'all can see perhaps that I did some spray painting this morning. So the fences are almost ready. I've just been going out there a bit at a time, kind of spritzing a little black spray paint, kind of tilting them and getting different angles, because you do need to kind of get every nook and cranny on that. But I keep taking my hair down and putting it back up, like it's going to make me feel like less of a hot mess. Ooh, and instead of fighting it, I should probably just like lean into being a hot mess. Okay, so I've been spray painting. Obviously, spray paint is so messy, but so is life. Life is messy. I'm the house where you can play with Play-Doh. I'm the house where if we make if we spill something, it's not a big deal and we clean it up. And that's me trying to, that's what I'm trying to be. So been spray painting. That is messy, but it's going fine. That's kind of hard to document because like I go out there and spritz a little bit and sprinkle a little glitter and spritz a little bit and sprinkle a little glitter. I don't know how engaging that would be to look at. Anyway, I'm going to do, this has had one coat of blue. She's going to get the rest of her blue. And if I don't say it enough, thank you guys for bearing with me. I know that it's not exactly a polished product in here, but I kind of want to, it's nice to have company. It's nice to feel like you're not alone. Alone is a big word. Lonely, maybe. It's nice to feel like you've got your community, even if it's in sort of an unconventional way. All right, I've got those. Those are going to be tables for, I'm pointing over here like you guys can see. I've got some shoes over here that are going to be cocktail party tables, and I'm going to do those in ice blue as well, because I really love the way the I had one, but I moved her. I really love the way the ice blue looks with the Atomic Cocktail Party spread. She's not around. That's okay. So I'm a little low on Mod Podge, so I wanted to kind of get through these because I want to keep making progress on these. So I was going to see how those were coming together. And then if I have enough, then I will work a little bit on the tables. And the tables aren't like a proper shoe marathon project, though I have been kind of popping them in and out. Those are sort of a little side quest, because I do want it to be representative to y'all of what it looks like to make 30, or in my case, 60 shoes. Oh, which reminds me, guys, I sold my first girls trip shoe. The countdown is on. I mean, not literally, but it's gonna be real. So I'm excited about that. Lost my train of thought. It's gonna be happening for a bit, y'all. I am scrambled. This month, it has been a long year. You know what I mean, guys? Couple of months. It's been, whew. And I'm doing okay. I don't want anybody to be like, oh no, Nori, somebody needs to call somebody. It's nothing like catastrophic. It's just a lot is going on. Got a lot to carry at the moment. Whew. Okay. And I know my moms know how back to school, my moms and dads, I know how my parents know back to school is a time. Everybody has a lot on their plate at back to school time. Okay. All right. So that now has a first coat on the body of the shoe, the inside of the shoe, and the bottom. So I will set her sideways and let her dry. You go over there. She's got blue on her interior. She could probably use maybe a little bit more, though she's all right. She needs pink on her bottom. So I will put some pink on her heel and her sole. Glitter heals the soul. Okay. Okay, so yes, I want it to be representative kind of what it looks like to make 30, or in my case, 60 shoes, which I feel like that's a lot. 60 is a lot, but also there are probably plenty of muses who do theirs and their moms or their float mates. There are probably plenty of muses who are in that boat with me. So that's, I think, pretty cool. But I am slightly above average on shoe stuff because it's my livelihood. I own a store that sells glitter supplies. I need to be testing a lot of stuff. When I make something, I really want to make it like, this is the scientist in me. When I make something, I want to make it like 10 flippin' times so that I know all the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies, the pitfalls. Somebody, a friend, a very good friend, asked me a question about like different types of glues, and God bless her. I think she was looking for kind of a, here's my 2 cents, kind of a little something. And I was like, let me tell you all my thoughts. And she kind of got maybe a more thorough lecture than anyone had signed up for. But this is why I say in workshops, I'm like, if you have a glitter question, I'm good to hear it. Like, and sometimes people are like, oh, I'm sorry to bug you, but like, what do you think about, what color glitter would you use for this? And I'm not always available for that because I do get a lot of that, not to be like, oh, Beyonce, but I do get a lot of that. But so sometimes I miss stuff, but I do love to talk about glitter. So if you've got glitter questions, I've got glitter opinions. Woo-wee. Okay, she needs, what does she need? What does any of us need? Okay, she needs the pink on the bottom, but I'm going to do some more blue in here because she could just use a little bit more. And if there's a little crosstalk, there's a little crosstalk. But I'm feeling good. These are basically all at the point where they can start getting their finished coats, their second coats, the coat that is the last coat that goes on top of the first coat. Y'all see how good I'm doing? Remember the first couple of months of Shoe Marathon when I was like, the top coat. And then we put the top coat on the top coat because I was using top coat interchangeably to mean the coat of glitter that you put on top, so the first coat, and also the coat of glitter that goes on top of the shoe, and also the coat of glitter that sits on top of the finished product. So I'm getting better, not to toot my own horn. We gotta find the W's where we can. We gotta take the win. All right, so she's looking good. And I want a little bit more in her insides. I am gonna have, this shoe design kind of features a lot of moss. If you take a peek at the one I did on Jazz Fest, the one I did for Jazz Fest, and I'm gonna put it, that one is gonna be, the post that has all the shopping list and everything for this shoe design is gonna be on my Patreon soon, because I've been kind of getting my ducks in a row. It's a little bit of a ramble because I talk a little bit about, so there was this concept, y'all bear with me. If you're here, I guess you're used to the weirdness. So my blue Especial is almost out, so I'm gonna switch to my clean. This is Clean Ice Ice Baby. All right, so it's a little bit greener than my mix because my mix had a couple of other things in it. So the difference is subtle, but switching over to full strength Ice Ice Baby Blue. My sister calls them Diet Coke and full fat Coke. I think she picked that up from a podcast, but I think that's very funny. So I'm switching over to full fat Ice Ice Baby Blue. That's what I'm going to start saying. My Especial or full fat. Diet Blue. Oh my God, that's actually pretty funny. My jars say like pink Especial, gold Especial. I should start calling them diet. Sorry, y'all. I'm a little, loopy isn't the right word exactly. I am getting some rest, though, of course, not quite enough because that's the nature of the thing. But I'm a little loopy, not off of lack of sleep, but off of what's going on. Okay. But what was I talking about? Let's see. I was talking about bead fences. Oh, yes. Y'all are probably used to my big, weird, long lectures. Okay, so in Dutch still lifes, which is one of my very favorite categories of visual art, one of my favorite sort of types of painting, Dutch still lifes. And they would create what were called, I want to say, impossible bouquets, something like that. That makes it sound like a bouquet that's made out of soy instead of meat. But they made like these botanically impossible configurations. So what they would do is they would go out and like get the flowers that were in season. You know, I'm not a botanist, but like if a rose blooms in the summer and a tulip blooms in the spring and they don't bloom at the same time, Dutch still life artists, they would go and kind of get the flowers and paint them. And sometimes they would put really expensive stuff and like, you know, it was a way of making a bouquet or a floral arrangement that couldn't exist in nature, but could exist in art. And I think that's extraordinarily beautiful. And so I definitely, it's going to sound pretentious, but I definitely do bring that to my throws. I like to make impossible bouquets. I like to make, ooh, what if the bead tree had a strand from Pride and a strand from St. Patrick's and a strand from Muses 2020, 2022, but also this year. And like, what if, what if it had vintage Mardi Gras beads on there that nobody even throws anymore and certainly wouldn't throw up into the tree? You know, what if it had all those things and it was all at once? Even though that's impossible, it can live in your dreams. So that's what I like to do on my bead fences into these trees. Okay, she is ready for her top coat. She's got a bag in there to kind of give her some shape. And you know, I think I might just leave her in there. I think I might just leave that bag. And once I add all the, once I add all the moss, I don't think you'll really see it, but I am going to just leave that there. But what I'm going to do now, because we're working clean, is I'm going to get this is my clean ice baby. That's my diet ice baby. That's my diet teal. That's my full fat teal. That's tickling me so much. And in like a couple of days when I feel more regulated, I'm going to be like, what was it about that made me laugh so much? All right, but I am ready to do my final coat, my top coat in the sense of my last coat. So I've got my confetti, which is the Vieux Carré confetti from Nola Craft Culture. And again, on my Patreon, it has the full shopping list if you want to use what I use. And I realized I need to go back to all the ones where I use Baked with Love and add that you can also use Snickerdoodle. Those are interchangeable. I don't want y'all to see me using Baked with Love 3 months ago and then be like, oh, but I just watched her and she said she likes Snickerdoodle. I need to go make a little note on that. Okay, so I've got my beautiful confetti, and it's a mix of these really pretty soft toned like salmons and kind of teals and a little bit of like wrought iron, and it's a very pretty mix. I love it very much. It was the confetti that went with our first Woman of New Orleans glitter. Yvonne Fosnach. Okay. All right. So the others are now kind of, they're and base coats are all drying, but this one already has its base coat dry. She was the first one I did. So I'm ready with my clean ice baby. I'm ready with my confetti, so we can roll. Which is nice because that means I'll be able to put the fence on her pretty soon. And the others will catch up soon. These are not, like I said when I first started doing these for the shoe marathon, I'm going to put my Especial kind of inside my blue Especial kind of inside the boot. Because that barely shows, so I prefer to use my less premium stuff. Okay, so as I said when I started doing these, they really don't take that long to glitter. It's 2 colors of glitter. A boot is not a boot does take a little bit more kind of prep and planning just because it has more surface area. So there are a lot of pumps where I don't need to do any structural prep. I don't need to put that reinforcement. I'm doing this because like I reinforce it and I squeeze it. I don't need to put that reinforcement inside of it. It'll kind of just hold its shape nicely. There are pumps where I reinforce, and I know y'all have seen me reinforce a pump, so that's not anything new. Pay no attention to that. So the glittering is not particularly difficult on this. Basically, more colors means more time. More surface area does mean more glue, more glitter, more time, but you know, it's not the only thing. Switching colors, if you have a small shoe, but you're gonna put a bunch of colors on there, that's gonna take you longer than a big shoe that has only 2 colors, like this one does. So for these shoes, something very satisfying about that for me. For these shoes, the actual glittering isn't really where a lot of your time, I won't say gets wasted, gets spent wisely, gets well invested. A lot of the time on your bead fences and your bead trees doesn't really go into the glittering. The glittering is important. That's a good foundation to build on. You want a nice, cleanly executed, beautifully glittered shoe. But a lot of your time on this is building the fence, spray painting the fence, and then the tiny little beads. So we know that going in. So we're pretty close to, we've just started these, but we're not that far from being done on the glitter is kind of a very long way of me saying that. Whew, y'all. I am ready for a little bit of things calming down. It is good to be busy, but you know, a few things get out of balance and then, not a few things, I guess, but some things get out of balance and then you're like, oh boy, stick a fork in me, I'm done. But I am kind of old enough to know how to manage my energy. If I start to feel like I'm getting burnt out, I can usually make adjustments. And it'll be so good to see people for classes this weekend. That takes a lot of energy, obviously, because we want to do a really good job and give people a really good experience at Craft Culture when you trust us with your float parties and your workshops and stuff. So of course that takes energy, but that also fills my cup. All right, nice even coat of glue. I got a little Mod Podge on my hand when I drop my brush, so give me 1 sec. Okay. Wispies. All right, so I've got a big old pinch of confetti here. Do I wanna, let me clear this 1 sec. Let me just move these tables down there. Okay, because I'm gonna want to use the full big piece of paper probably, because this is big. So, and ideally you would figure all this out before you put your glue, because as soon as you get your glue on there, it does start to dry. And it's not like a frantic race against the clock. It's not like a cooking competition and any minute they're gonna be like, put your knives down. So, but you do kind of want to be mostly ducks in a row. Okay, so now I've got a big flat piece of paper. I've got this. I've got this. Clean confetti, clean glitter. Ooh, I love it. I love this part where the confetti gets sprinkled everywhere. So pretty. That is a beautiful confetti. That is exactly the vibe. And when you have a nice big boot that's kind of smooth, your confetti is going to do a lot of the work of like giving it some richness, some visual interest. I think if I just did this all flat glitter, I would find that a little dull. If I'm putting a bunch of transfers and stuff on it, then it's like, cool, whatever. But since I am looking at a pretty big surface area, it's nice to have a healthy portion of a visually interesting confetti. All right, so that's nice and spread out. I typically, and I just I haven't been doing this as regularly. If you're doing a lot of confetti, having this in your craft room kind of stuck down on your table so you can like just real quick get the little bits of confetti off your fingers, that's helpful. Okay. And then I'm going to close my clean confetti. Big sheet of paper. I'm actually going to reopen my confetti because my sheet of paper was so clean to start with. If you're working a lot on the paper, you might, and you have like a little sprinkle of confetti kind of on the paper, you might just throw that out. If it's like a couple of flakes of confetti and there's a bunch of other trash on your paper, not trash, but you know, glitter that isn't part of that confetti, sometimes you keep it, sometimes you don't. It's a matter of personal preference. It's a matter of like, how clean do you want it to be? So I had just put down a completely fresh piece of paper right before I did that. So I knew that confetti was clean as a whistle, but it's kind of up to you. Sometimes the thing about glitter is because it's sort of designed to like a little goes a long way. Sometimes you'll have a situation where there's like a little sprinkle of glitter on your paper and part of you is like, oh my God, that's so much. I need to save all of that glitter. And then you scoop it up and it's actually not that much. So that's a matter of personal, everyone's got their own balance for like keeping their stuff clean versus not wasting. And nobody can possibly tell you what the right balance is for you. And it's kind of a case-by-case situation. Sorry, y'all. I'll be back. Where'd she go? Peekaboo. It's kind of a case-by-case situation. Like, if it's a white glitter, I really do not play with any contamination. And making my little especial batches kind of helps me feel like I am not... Like, there's a balance between putting contaminated glitter back into the jar and, like, then the whole jar is messy, versus saving a little especial so you don't have to completely throw it out. So you do you. Sometimes you'll see me like do one of these and I'm shaking